In this project, there will be a menu. In menu, there are three main features: signup function, login function, and forget password function. In signup function, we will create a new account for the user. So we will ask the user to enter email address and password. To store email address and password permanently, we will store them in a file. To validate your email address, we will use email validation function. Rules to validate your email address are: it should be in the format of username at the rate of domain dot extension. The username should contain at least 6 characters long and can contain alphabets, numbers, dots, dashes, etc. To check whether entered email address is in the form of username at the rate of domain dot extension, we will use RE library. RE stands for regular expression. RE is a powerful tool for matching patterns in a string. Here we use a regular expression pattern that checks for the presence of central characters of an email address, such as at the rate and a period. To validate a password, we will use password validation function. Rules to validate a password are: it should contain at least 8 characters long and should include a combination of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. Password validation function checks password is at least 8 characters long and contains uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. If the email and password validations are passed, email and password are stored in a dictionary and saved to a file. Login function allows the user to log in by entering correct email address and password. The entered email address is checked using email validation function. If the email is valid, it checks if the email exists in the dictionary, then ask the user to enter the password, which is checked using password validation function. Then it is checked against the password stored in the dictionary. If the email and password are correct, then the user is considered as login successfully. Forget password function is used by the user who has forgotten his password. The user is asked to enter email address. If it is valid and exists in the dictionary, then ask to reset the password. The new password entered by the user is checked using password validation function, and if it passes, the user is asked to enter new password to confirm. If the new password and confirmed password matches, the user's password is updated in the dictionary and saved in the file. The code for this project starts by importing RE module, which is a inbuilt Python library. Here we will use a dictionary D to store email address and password as key value pairs. Here we will use a pattern variable to store a regular expression pattern, which is used to validate the email address. The pattern checks whether if the email address starts with letters, digits, and optionally a dot symbol between them, followed by at the rate symbol, then and lowercase letters for domain name, followed by a dot symbol, then the lowercase letters for the top level domain name. Email validation function takes the email as parameter and uses search function, which is in RE module. Search function takes two parameters, pattern and a string. If it searches a string for a match to a specified pattern and returns a corresponding match object if there is a match anywhere in the string. Otherwise, it returns none. So, RU.search method match the email against the pattern defined earlier. If match is found, function returns true. Otherwise, function returns false. Validation function takes password as a parameter and checks if the length of the password is greater than 8 and checks for presence of small letters, capital letters, digits, and special symbols. If they are not found, search function returns none. So the password validation function returns false. Otherwise, the password validation function returns true. In this way, the password is validated. In signup function, we will ask the user to enter the email address and we will validate the email using email validation function. If it is not a valid email, the email address returns false, so it will print the else block, that is print try again. And otherwise, we will ask the user to enter the password which is stored in password variable and we will validate the password using password validation function. If it is not a valid password, the password validation function returns false, so it will print try again. Otherwise, we will ask the user to enter the password again to confirm password, which is stored in confirm pass variable. Then we will check whether the password and confirm password are same or not. If the password and confirm password does not match, we will print try again. Otherwise, the email and password are stored in your dictionary D as key value pairs. Then we will print sign up successfully and we will open a data.txt file in W mode using which statement. If we are opening a file with using which statement, there is no need to close the file. It will automatically close the file after the indentation. And here we will use the W mode that is only for writing. And in W mode, it will overwrite the file if the file is exist. Otherwise, it will create a new file. And here we will use a for loop to write all the emails and passwords in the dictionary to the file. Using the write function, we will write it as email colon password new line. Using the format function in e placeholder, the key that is email is written, and in the pass placeholder, the values that is the passwords are written. In this way, we will save the emails and passwords into the file. Login function allows the user to log in by entering correct email address and password. First, we will ask the user to enter email address and we will store it in email variable. Then we will validate the email using email validation function. If it is not a valid email, the email validation function returns false. So it prints invalid email. Otherwise, we check whether entered email address is present in dictionary D or not using the statement if email in D. If it not found, it prints email not found. If new user, please sign up. Otherwise, we will ask the user to enter the password, which is stored in password variable. Then we will check whether entered password matches the password corresponding to the mail in the dictionary. If matches, we will print login successful. Otherwise, we print incorrect password. In this way, the login function works. The forgot password function is used by the user who has forgotten the password. First, user is asked to enter the email address, which is stored in email variable. Then it is validated using email validation function. If it is not a valid email, it prints email invalid email. Otherwise, it checks whether entered email is present in dictionary D or not using the statement if email in D. If the email is not found, it prints email not found. Otherwise, it prints email found. Then the user is asked to set new password by entering 1. If n equal to 1, the user is asked to enter the new password, which is stored in new pass variable. Then it checks whether entered the new password and the old password in the dictionary both are same or not. If old password and new password are same, it will print please enter a different password, which has happened to me so many times. If the and it returns the function. Otherwise, it will validate the password using password validation function. Then the user is asked to enter the password again to confirm password, which is stored in confirm pass variable. Then it checks whether new password and confirm password both are same. If both are not same, the user is asked to try again. Otherwise, the new password is updated in the dictionary as value to the corresponding email key. Then it prints new password changed successfully. Now to save the new password in the file, we will open data.txt file in W mode using which statement. Uh, to write all the emails and passwords in the dictionary D, we will use a for loop and using the write function, we will write it as email colon password new line using the format function. At the e placeholder, the keys that is emails are written, and at the path placeholder, values that are passwords are written. In this way, the forget password function works. Now all the functions are completed and the program runs from here. At first, we have to load all the data from the data.txt file into a dictionary D, which we created at first which is a empty dictionary D. And the data.txt file looks like this. Email address and password are separated by a semicolon. Colon. Uh, so we will open the data.txt file in our mode, that is read-only mode, using the with statement. And here we will use a for loop, and the for loop is repeated based on number of lines in the file. Here we will use split function, and the delimiter is colon. So whenever a colon appears in the line, it splits. So the email and password are splitted, and the strip function removes the white spaces at the beginning and end of the line. And finally, the email is stored in the key variable and the password is stored in the val variable. And both email and password are stored in the dictionary D as key value pairs. In this way, all the emails and passwords in the data.txt file are stored in the dictionary. Then we will use a while loop, and while one means while true. So the while loop is repeated until it breaks. At first, the user is asked to enter 1 to sign up, 2 to log in, 3 to forget password, and 4 to exit. And the entered string is converted into an integer using the int function, and it is stored in choice variable. If the user enters 1, signup function is called, and if the user enters 2, login function is called, and if the user enters 3, forget password function is called, and the user enters 4, and the break keyword is appeared, the program breaks out of the loop, and if the user enters any other number, it prints please enter a valid number. In this way, the email authenticating system works. At first, the data.txt file is empty, and now if I run the program, the menu is appeared and asks you to enter 1 to sign up, 2 to log in, 3 to forget password, and 4 to exit. If I press 1 to create a new account, it asks to enter the email address. If I enter the invalid email address, it prints try again since the entered username is less than 6 characters. If I enter again 1 and again enter invalid email address, it prints try again since the username does not consist of @ symbol and other extensions. Now if I press 1 and enter valid email address, it asks to enter the password. And if I enter the valid password, it asks confirm password. And since the confirm password and password are same, it prints sign up is successful. And data.txt file as enter the email address and password. Now if I press again 1 to create another account and enter valid email address and password, confirm password, it prints sign up is successful. And enter the email address and password are stored in the data.txt file. Now, if I press 2 to log in, I have to enter the email address that is present in the data.txt file. If I enter another file, another email address, it prints email is not found. So now I will enter the email address that is present in the file. Since it is found in the data.txt file, it asks the corresponding password. And if I enter the correct password, it prints login successful. In the same way, I can change the password by using the forgot password function. If I enter the email that is found in the auto.txt file, that is, I'm entering the first email address, it prints email is found, and if I want to change the password, I have to press 1. And now I'll enter the new password and confirm password. It prints the new password is changed successfully. And now in the data.txt file, the old password is Ajay at the rate of 123, and the new password is Ajay as 1234. In this way, the email authenticating system works. And the code of the project is in my GitHub account, and I will share my GitHub account in the description. The code of this project can be improved by, instead of using a text file, you can use a database to organize the data in a better way. And You can implement password encryption. Instead of storing the password in a plain text, you can use a hash function to store the password more securely. For more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.